welcome back to Goo for Science. We took a bit of a break over the summer to write, which is interesting for us, but not good filmmaking. So we want to give you an update on ethanol and hand sanitizers, and especially today on technical grade ethanol. So way back in March and April of this year, Health Canada relaxed the guidelines for the ingredients that go into hand sanitizers. And this was because hand sanitizers were becoming difficult to find, but the ingredients to make them was also getting impossible. So a few different organizations approached Health Canada with their ethanol products that don't usually get used for health products and said, can we use this? And so Health Canada took all of those, analyzed them, did a risk assessment, and they approved some of the manufacturers to use their ethanol in hand sanitizers. And none of these technical grade ethanols, as they started to become called at that time, none of them were higher than 800 parts per million in acetaldehyde. In general, they were higher in impurities than USP, or United States Pharmacopoeia standard alcohol, which is what should be used in hand sanitizers in an ideal world. So that USP grade really drives down your impurities and your other stuff that you have in your ethanol. These impurities come from the fermentation process, where you're not just taking sugar and turning it into ethanol. You are feeding yeast, a living organism, and based on its environmental conditions and its mood, it's producing all kinds of other things, and then you go through a distillation process or several distillation processes to purify that ethanol. So with the technical grade ethanol, it's important for you as a consumer to know when you're using this product that's higher in impurities and the activities that are going on to drive those impurities down within the industry, so that you can make an informed decision for the products that you're using and how often. The other thing that's important to keep in mind is that between March and now, there have been 5,000 licenses issued for hand sanitizer products. These are new products made by manufacturers or distributed by people who may not be familiar with the industry and may not be familiar with what needs to happen for these products. And so Health Canada is working on regulating these things, but also the consumer plays a role in reporting problems. And so we want to give you the tools to be able to engage in the compliance and regulatory process. So with general use of hand sanitizers, which is maybe in and out of the grocery store or a few times a day, the exposure to this higher level of impurities is quite low. Whereas people who are working in environments like healthcare or education, where they're applying hand sanitizer or surface sanitizer multiple times, upwards of 30 times a day, then the exposure is higher and for a longer period of time. It's more of an occupational use situation. But for standard use, day-to-day, the technical grade is low enough in impurities that it's considered an acceptable risk, and the risks are higher for those who are pregnant or breastfeeding and for children. So in the next video, we're going to give you a checklist for how to have a look at your hand sanitizers and make informed decisions as a consumer. And also, if you feel like it, you can participate in the regulatory process as well. It's difficult for Health Canada and the other regulatory bodies to keep track of so many different products. And we've seen that some of the distributors are not forthcoming when there's a recall of their product. Thank you so much for watching Goo for Science.